هينون هينون لينون كالجمل الآنف إن قيد إن قاد وإن أنيخ على صخرة استناخ.
My dear respected brothers and elders, everything has a reality to it, haqiqat. It is in the mizaj and the attitude of human beings that in everything it wants its haqiqat, its reality, even in the things of dunya. If a person wants a house, he wants, a house that he could live in. If he wants a business, he wants a business which he could run successfully. He doesn't want a house that's just drawn out on a piece of paper, because that does not fulfill his requirements. Because the need is only fulfilled when the reality of those things are there. So if the house in its tangible form, if you want to say, is present, then he'll benefit from the house, he'll live in the house, his family will live in the house. But if it's just drawn out or sketched out on a piece of paper, it's not going to fulfill his needs. So we never get satisfied in the dunya with just sketches or just, things which are not real, things which are not tangible, things that we cannot benefit from. So in terms of dunya, if we don't get satisfied, then how in terms of deen can we become satisfied with just the sketch or the structure of Islam being present in our life? Everything has a reality. Everything. Everything has its terminology associated with it, as well as the reality of it. It's like Iman. The words Iman is I-M-A-A-N. But the reality of it is something that we will understand when we focus. We will find out that Iman is ikhlas. That is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That what is Iman? Iman is ikhlas. And what is the ikhlas of this kalima? It is that this kalima prevents that person from haram, from sins. You call it a business when it profits you. You call something my house when your needs are being fulfilled through that house. Just like that, just similarly, having Iman in La ilaha illallah, the reality of this is that all our necessities of life are being fulfilled through this kalima. Why? Because this kalima is taking us towards good deeds. It's preventing us from sinning. And it's building our connection between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the ikhlas of the kalima? Is that this kalima prevents us from sins. How is this ikhlas going to come into our life? This kalima will come into our life through the effort of dawah. And we don't give doubt about this. That's why we don't have the reality of Iman in our life. Hazrat used to say, a person who has yaqeen and reality of something in this dunya, then he calls people towards it. If someone is a successful businessman, then he will want his son to be a businessman. He would want his son to join him in the business. He'll tell other people, oh, this is a very good business. I am doing it in this locality. You start the same business in another locality and I'll help you build it. So he becomes a da'i for that business, for that idea. So Hazrat used to say that every part of dunya, or every aspect of dunya, or every profession of dunya has its da'is. But today we don't have a da'i for this kalima la ilaha illallah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Jaddidu imanana ya Rasul. Refresh your iman. Sahaba said, Kayfa nujaddidu imanana ya Rasulullah. How are we going to refresh our iman? Rasulullah replied, Akthiru dhikru la ilaha illallah. Increase your remembrance of la ilaha illallah. But you have to understand, what does it mean by increasing our remembrance of la ilaha illallah? What does this actually mean? We will need to focus on this. And then we will understand what connection it has with iman. That increasing our remembrance of this kalima, and what does it have, or how does it correlate with iman? Everything which is dirty or old, we try to clean it. Okay? Like for example, our body gets dirty, we make ghusl every day. So we take a shower every day. So hadith of Rasulullah to its meaning is that throughout the day our iman gets dirty. And we need to have a system in place to clean it and refresh it. Once we have this understanding that yes, iman is something that gets old just like clothes and like the human body, then we'll understand that yes, we will need to make an effort to clean this iman, purify this iman. Then we will ponder, what does it really mean by increasing our remembrance of this kalima? The true meaning of this is not that just increase your zikr of this. Sit in a corner and increase your zikr of la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah. No. Rather, what is being told for us to do and for the Sahaba to do is increase our da'wat of this kalima. That nothing does. My business doesn't do, the profession doesn't do, my store doesn't do, my employer doesn't do. Only and only Allah does. Today, this type of da'wat is deficient in our life. We give lectures and talks about a'mal and different ulum, different areas of knowledge, Islamic knowledge. But we rarely talk about this. But ironically, this is the most important thing, because if we really talk about this, hearing that everything is done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Ghairullah does not do anything, then this is how our yaqeen will be made. And based on our yaqeen, Allah will deal with us accordingly on the Day of Judgment. All the other ulum and knowledge, Islamic knowledge, like the knowledge of Hajj, the knowledge of fasting, we learn all of this and we sit and spend a lot of time. But the difference between all the fara'id and iman and yaqeen is this, that all these other fara'id are tangential. Meaning, it's not, that fard is not a fard at every point of our life. Hajj is only fard, during the knowledge of Hajj is fard only during the time of Hajj. The ilm of fasting is fard while you're fasting. But having yaqeen and iman is something which is required by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 24 hours a day. The most fundamental thing that the Anbiya used to do. They would negate whatever is people used to see happening in the world and associate everything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, to the nearest meaning, that the first thing that we made our Anbiya do is to negate that other things do, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does. That there is no one worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is meant by this? That there is no one worthy of obeying except Allah. कोई और इताअत के लायक नहीं. No one else is qualified to be obeyed. This was the essence of the da'wah of the Anbiya. The dunya is full of things, but they negated all the things that things don't do. Nuh, they were all about majority. So Nuh alayhi salam came and said majority does not do anything. Sabah were people of farming, and they would negate, and the Nabi of that times negated the farming, that farming doesn't do. They would go and say, all these things don't have any power or might or will to do anything. Only Allah is the one. They negated the doing of everyone and everything. And this is the most fundamental and primary level of da'wah, negating everything. Then all the ahkam came. Salah, the ahkam of salah were completed after hijrah. Hajj, fasting after Ramadan, after hijrah. Priority was given to bring iman in la ilaha illallah. The affirmation that nothing has the power to do anything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Different Anbiya came to different nations who thought that different things had the ability and the might to do things. They would come and say, no. They'd break this yaqeen of theirs and to introduce everyone to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All these nations, they all thought that if we were to work on dunya, we would get something, and based on that, we would measure success. And we would compare, okay, I got this much from this, how much did that person get? Based on that, the person would be labeled as rich, the other person would be labeled as poor. The Anbiya came and broke all of this. that richness and poverty has nothing to do with money or how many apples you had in your garden. No, rather success in this world and success in the hereafter lies only and only in following the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and doing His ita'at. The taqaza of iman, the demand of iman is to have a level of understanding and belief that each and everything that is being done and the whole world is running by that one creator who has created everything. What is the difference between a kafir and a mu'min? What is the difference? Nowadays, it's very difficult to find things which differentiate us. We wear the same clothes, we eat the same type of stuff. But the real difference kafir afaq mein gumda. Afaq, meaning the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That he was lost in this dunya, mesmerized by the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to such an extent that he could not even recognize who Allah is. That's a kafir. That he connects creation with creation. He looks at the sun, sun has so many rays, sun is so big, sun has such rays that I can't even stare at it. They would connect creation with creation, and they don't remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah malakul hamd. And the difference for the people of Iman was that each and everything and each and every creation of Allah, they would connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what a great Allah that has created the sun. If the sun is so bright, then imagine the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That in each and everything, an aspect of life, that when we reflect and ponder on the creation of Allah, we recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the real zikr. And he's connecting this to the hadith that he mentioned at the beginning. أَكْثِرُ ذِكْرُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. What does it mean to increase your remembrance of La ilaha illallah? Kuffar, and he's repeating. He likes to repeat everything 3 times. So he's repeating that the kuffar are those who connect the makhluk with and associate the greatness of makhluk with makhluk, and they are neglectful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they say that Allah has created this whole creation, and it's running basically on its own, and it's a cause and effect type of world. And if the sun comes on the climax and it has on the zenith, right, and it will give a lot of sunlight. If there's a drought, then everyone will be in a state, that area will be in a state of famine, and it will be a source of destruction. They don't believe that, 2 rakats, praying 2 rakats and asking Allah will bring rain, will become a source of salvation. No. Why? Because they associate hearing everything with itself. That if there's water, then human beings will survive. If there is no water, it won't survive. So when Allah takes away the means, the people get scared. The kuffar get scared. Oh, what's going to happen now? A mu'min doesn't get scared. He knows that Allah has His unseen treasures. وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ, which means that whatever other people will, even the Anbiya, whatever they want to do, whatever their wishes are, they don't have the ability to fulfill them. They don't have the ability to bring reality to them if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not will. The Anbiya, imagine, they don't even have the ability or the power to give someone hidayat. When in fact, they're the ones who came with the effort of hidayat. So Allah gave them the effort of hidayat, but has kept them dependent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give hidayat to this person or that person. Listen to me carefully. We still don't have the attitude or the understanding or the importance or the significance of giving da'wat of this kalima. Rather, we want to entertain our ears. We want to hear new stuff, new stories. Rasulullah hadith that bring the greatness and the azmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your heart. And based on this will become a source. This will be a source of salvation for you on the Day of Judgment. That is why I'm telling you, negate everything that is happening in this world and associate everything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah does everything. The Sahaba, they turned their yaqeen from ghayrullah towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One Sahabi, he started having an itching sensation. Oh no, one camel. So then Rasulullah said, how are all these camels having this sensation now? So the Sahabi said, it started with one camel, but now all of them have it. So Rasulullah replied, tell me this, if all of them have this sensation of itching because of this one camel, then where did this one camel get that sensation from? So Rasulullah had this fikr and concern to correct the yaqeen of his companions. Even about this small thing about the itching sensation of this camel. Allah is the one who gave that camel and those camels that type of disease or pathology. It wasn't. Everything happened and Rasulullah ﷺ corrected their yaqeen and reminded them that everything happened by the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The conclusion of science is that this whole world runs by the makhluk, by the creation. The creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala runs by the creation of Allah. But whatever you see that is happening other than whatever you see that is happening by itself, like you see the sun, it's rising by itself. You don't see Allah rising the sun, right? The setting of the sun. Whatever you see in the creation of Allah that is happening technically, right, by itself, remember and that this is not happening by itself. It is happening by that one Allah. And even the miracles that came to the Anbiya, they would correct the yaqeen of their companions that this miracle is not something that I am doing, rather Allah is doing it. What a miracle that at the time of Hijrat, Rasulullah took a handful of dirt and he threw it in the faces of the non-believers. In reality, how can this one fist of dirt be enough to make people blind and give the ability of Rasulullah to go with his companion from his house outside of Medina all the way to Makkah, all the way from Makkah to Medina. So Allah reminded him that you're not the one who threw this into their faces. I am the one who threw it. Allah is reminding that Allah is the one who does. That Allah is the one who has the ability to make a person who's dead alive. All these miracles that all these Anbiya had, they are not associated with any Nabi. Rather, it is associated only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People say, oh, the things that are happening in this world are happening automatically. Na'udhu billah. That Allah has made this world and He has stopped looking at it, and He has stopped managing it, and it's running on its own. Allah, no, it's not like this. Allah has delegated some responsibility to the malaika, to the angels. Even on that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has full control. Allah once gave order for water. Once Allah ordered that the water that was a particular angel was in charge of, Allah ordered the water to disobey that angel. And that angel got afraid. Angels who are in charge of water, they know how many drops of water are in each cloud and how much will rain. And the way that the water came out of the control, the way that the water came out of the control of the angel was because Allah ordered the wind to blow it. So when the angel of the wind, right, was blowing, then the angel of water became concerned. Oh, angel of wind, what are you doing? All this water is going without my control. He said, I have gone in the hukum from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do this. Allah is making that angel recognize that he is not in actual control of water. Rather, it is Allah who is in control. You understand? If you don't understand anything, it's better to repeat it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed through the failure of other ummats that came with other anbiya that success doesn't lie in things. Success only lies in the following the amr and the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sulaiman alayhi salam, Allah had given him full control over jinns, of wind, the wind, shayateen, jinns, and he had a very big kingdom. He was a king as well as a Nabi. Very big kingdom. Even then, that Sulaiman alayhi salam could do something based on his wish or his whim. People nowadays, they own a small property, or a small state, or a small country, and they say that, oh, whatever we decide, that will happen. I am in a state of amazement. Who do they think they are? A sign of a believer is that when there are rules and regulations of whichever state or country he lives in, and if the ahkam of Allah, if there's a clash between the two, he's going to choose the hukum of Allah over the rules or regulations of that particular state or government. That's a sign of a person who has iman. So, as I was saying, Sulaiman alayhi salam, there were a lot of things which were under the control of Sulaiman alayhi salam. Birds, jinnat, wind, everything was in the khidmat of Sulaiman alayhi salam. Sulaiman alayhi salam thought once that if Allah has given me so much and such a big kingdom, and such a kingdom that Allah has not given to anyone else, then I should also think that I should give something to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he made an intention that from his kids, 100 mujahid, from his own progeny, that he made an intention that out of his own progeny, he makes 100 mujahid ready for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From his own children, who would be waqf for the deen. You're from the high class family, and the intention is great for the sake of Deen, giving 100 kids. So he slept with 100 wives. Big intention, and he had a very good inner strength. And the women had that type of ability as well. People say that, in the khair, in the things of khair, Allah's mother is always there. No, I say no. Allah doesn't like this type of pride. That, I'm doing something khair, Allah's help will always be with me. No. No, if Allah wills, there will be khair in it. If Allah wills, Allah's help will be with that. The people who have been given means by being happy with them, like the Anbiya, and using these means, they have failed. How can the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of His anger has given them means and they have attained success, that is true success? You understand? You understand? Basically, in the nutshell, success and failure doesn't lie on the usage of those means. No. It's rather what is aligned with the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because in reality, when we look at the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it seems like na'udhu he has failed. He doesn't have food to eat, he doesn't have clothes to wear, so on and so forth. Right? But Allah is happy with him. So never say that, we do something that is a good work, that Allah will be very happy with. We don't know. Asbab and means are not independent. They are dependent on the amr of Allah. That favorable means and unfavorable means or conditions, both are dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because they're favorable means for something to happen, or favorable environment made, that does not mean that, that thing will happen. No. That environment, that favorable environment is dependent on the amr of Allah. Just like how the favorable environment is dependent on Allah, that's how much the unfavorable environment is dependent on Allah. Hazrat used to say that Jibreel and an insect are both equally dependent on the amr of Allah. We would not say that the dependency of Jibreel is less and of the insect is more. Everyone is equally dependent on Allah. Anbiya, as well as the ummats previously, as well as our ummah. So Sulaiman alayhi salam, he had this thought that 100 mujahid I will prepare. He made this decision on his own, even though he's thinking that this is an effort of khair, of good. If a person cannot become successful in the effort of good without the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then how can me and you be successful in the things of the dunya without the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Think about this carefully. He's repeating. Of course, Allah loves the person who goes out in the path of Allah. There are a lot of virtues associated with it. Going out in the path of Allah is not a source of being successful for the children of Sulaiman alayhi salam in this story. Why? Because the Amr of Allah is not there. And how in dunya, things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want us to do, how can we be successful in those things? So we're going back to the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam. 99 of those women did not become pregnant. Why? Because Allah didn't will. Allah does whatever He wills. He has the power and ability to give sons. He is the one who has the power to give girls. People marry 4 women thinking that they'll have kids. Kids is not dependent on which woman you marry. Sulaiman alayhi salam had no limitation. Great intention, right? He's from a great family, right? He has, alhamdulillah, great facilities, but still, if the Amr of Allah is not with it, it won't happen. So 99 were not even pregnant. That one woman became pregnant. And that one that was pregnant, that before the 4 months, the first term, right, that baby passed away. Why? Because Allah wanted to show that even hearing the what do you call early voting, right? It reminds me of that the early voting ballot results. Oh, I'm winning. So then, I'm doing something good, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to also test Sulaiman alayhi salam, that because he's having a son and his wife is pregnant, he should not even get that level of satisfaction. But 99 have passed away, but this one, yes, I am going to make this a mujahid for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I have attained success without the help and the Amr of Allah. Allah wanted to remove that as well. That is why Allah made one pregnant. And after it was made pregnant, after 4 months, what was the apparent mistake? Anbiya don't make mistakes. This is for our learning. But what was his fault? Or what is something that he overlooked? He didn't say, Inshallah. A Jew, a tribe of Jewish people, assigned one person to ask Rasulullah 3 questions. What is the rule? Who is Zulqarnain, and who are the Ashab Kahf? Rasulullah replied that I will tell you tomorrow. And he had this understanding that Jibril will come and tell me these answers of these 2 things. I'll tell you tomorrow. Anbiya did not have the knowledge of the unseen. Only what was told through Jibril alayhi salam. Today we have such type of people, like fortune tellers and peer babas. You go to them, they'll tell you your forecast of your next 5 days. What's going to happen to you next year? Oh, marry this person on this date, at this time, then there'll be khair and barakah in your marriage. If not, then no barakah. Even the Anbiya did not have the knowledge of the unseen. Whatever Jibreel alayhi salam came with, that's the knowledge that. Only Allah has that knowledge. Yeah, a meteorologist could predict, but they don't know for a fact that in 5 days it's gonna rain, right? Yahya? Anbiya did not know what is in the unseen. The people of the Anbiya don't have this type of knowledge. How can people like me and you think we have this type of knowledge? I'll tell you tomorrow the answer for these 3 questions. The Wahi did not come for a month. Rasulullah became terrified. What happened? Why? Because this is for us, not for Rasulullah. That we didn't say inshallah. We always think, if this doctor prescribes this medication and does this type of intervention and this type of surgery, I'll be all set. If I have this type of passport and I come to this country, I'll get married for sure. Bazi. After 1 month, Wahi came that please don't say anything without saying inshallah with it. After that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered all those 3 questions through Wahi. My whole talk's conclusion is this: what all the things that we see have no power, no ability, no might to do anything until and unless Allah wills. Just like how in the kalima la ilaha illallah there's negation of the creation. Just like that. So it's not only the negation that the creation cannot do, but it also the negation of the intention of the creation. Once the Sahaba said that, this will happen only if Allah and His Prophet wishes or intends for it to happen. So Rasulullah stopped him. Said, no, don't say that. Don't associate me with Allah. Say this, that if Allah intends, then it'll happen. So negation of the creation as well as negation of the intent of the creation. It's a very fine point. Rasulullah had this khaish, this desire that Wahshi who killed Hamza radiallahu anhu, please kill him. This was the dua of Rasulullah. And Abu Talib on the other side, Rasulullah made dua that Allah give him hidayat. Allah showed that he is not dependent on the desire of his own beloved Nabi. Rasulullah wanted to give hidayat to Abu Talib, he didn't get hidayat. The person who Rasulullah wanted to be murdered, Wahshi, who killed and who chewed the organs of the uncle of Rasulullah, Allah is giving that person hidayat. Musa alayhi salatu wasalam's qawm, Samari, were was a person who Gumrah, astray, who made the qawm of Musa alayhi salam astray, who was one of the sources. He used to have doodh, milk, shahad, honey, and ghee. And these things were get from where? You know, Bani Israel, right? So Manu Salwa. So he used to eat these things from the fingers of angels, salmon. But he didn't get hidayat. He became a source of Bani Israel going astray. He is showing from the story that hidayat is not just because how associated or you are with this pious person or that person. No, if Allah wills, then that person will get hidayat. If not, then you will not get hidayat. So Samiri was so close, right, that imagine that he is eating these things from the hand of an angel. Because at that time, Wanu Salwa, they were in a desert, there was no way to make food or any sorts of vegetation. So food would come from the skies. Yes, and the angels used to bring it. Right? So what one is to eat like other people, and another is to eat from the hand of the angel itself. Samiri was one of those type of people. But even then, he did not get hidayat. So Allah is making it very clear that hidayat is only in His hands. The talk is very simple. The people who have belief in the things of this world or give some even little importance to asbab, to the means, then to fulfill their hajat, right, they will present asbab in front of musabbibul asbab. Asbab means. Musabbibul asbab is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does that mean? That we will make dua, oh Allah, a businessman will say, oh Allah, through this business, give me success. You understand? That I'll repeat, that the people of this dunya, if they have even little importance or give some little significance to the asbab, they get affected, mutasir, affected by the asbab, then what will happen? That even in front of Allah, in the court of Allah, they will use these asbab, and through these asbab they will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give them success. But a person who has full yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he'll say, oh Allah, do as you wish. Today, all of us in general work on the means and then ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the means. We are limiting the rahmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we give dawah to everyone about this, work. Work hard. And then rely on Allah. Do what you could do. What's in your hand? Do what you could do. And then leave everything to Allah. It's not even possible that you make all your effort on asbab and then you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The person who works on the means, he cannot be honest with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You gotta listen to me carefully. People have thought that the way of success is that you make effort on asbab. After you do that, have full reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It cannot be possible. It is a fitrat of insan, it's in the nature. That whatever he makes an effort on, his ummeed and his hope is associated with that thing. So how can that be possible that you work on one thing and you have hope and reliance on something else? But rather the promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we need to look at that. That what are the requirements to get the promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So fulfill those requirements, the promise of Allah will be with you, the help of Allah will be with you. That's what's essential. You gotta listen to me carefully. And if you do this, then this is against what other people do. People might have a reaction to it. Why? Because people don't make an effort on this iman, this yaqeen. So they don't know how to get from the unseen treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Listen to me carefully. Asbab are not the way. Asbab, which means, is not the way to get from the unseen treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People, all the Muslims are in a state of loss. Why? Because they think asbab is the way to get from the unseen treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we put all our effort on the asbab, and then at the end, at the night, we rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, don't. The Islamic kainat, the things of this world that we see running, this is not the way to get from the unseen treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You gotta listen to me carefully. The way to get from the unseen treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is only through the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The creation of Allah and asbab are not the means to get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He likes to repeat everything 3 times so that we understand. Allah's deen is His way to get from Him. Why? It's because there's no change in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There could always be change in the means. So the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no change. No one could say that, at the time of the Sahaba, the promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were different. Now the promises are different. No. There's no change. In the means, in the asbab, there's always change. Sometimes there are clouds, sometimes there are no clouds, sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's not raining, sometimes the sun comes out, sometimes the sun doesn't come out, sometimes there's an eclipse. All these asbab, they keep changing. So you cannot, depend or think that Allah's help is dependent on these things, these means which keep changing. Because that same Allah and the same help of Allah that was with the Sahaba is with us. There is no change. La tabdil Arabic. Sorry, I'm slurring now.